fellow human beings, Power Gamer here, and I've been getting kind of lonely lately, maybe because no one likes me, so I'm gonna call some people up for an old-fashioned shindig.
911, what's your emergency?
Want to play Mario Kart?
Mario Kart, the series we all know and love. The simple joy of racing other people. It's easy to learn, but hard to master gameplay makes it perfect for anyone. Seriously, go up to someone's house and ask if they want to play Mario Kart. I can guarantee you'll have a great time if they don't think you're selling something or trying to save their soul. But all legends come from somewhere. Super Mario Kart, the first entry in the Mario Kart series. The game that defined a genre, the game that's cherished by millions, the game that spawned the most popular multiplayer series of all time. So why does nobody play it anymore?
Well, that's likely because Mario Kart is a series that gradually gets better as it goes along, while simultaneously being one of the most nostalgia-biased series ever. What do I mean by that? Well, just ask someone what their favorite Mario Kart game is. If they don't say it's whatever the newest one is at the time, it's whichever one they grew up with. Or Double Dash.
Super Mario Kart was directed by Tadashi Sugiyama and Hideki Kono and produced by Shigeru Miyamoto. After releasing the racing game F-Zero, they wanted to be able to create a racing game that had simultaneous multiplayer, since F-Zero was single-player only. The game was originally going to feature completely generic characters, but they wanted to see what Mario would look like in the kart just for the hell of it, and decided he looked better, so they built the game around the Mario theme. The game was also unique in its use of Mode 7, which was a graphical capability of the SNES, allowing it to use rotating backgrounds to give the game a pseudo-3D feel to it. For a better understanding, here's an NES game without it, and here's an SNES game with it. See the difference? The game was released in 1992 for the SNES, where it was critically acclaimed and sold like wildfire, selling over 8.7 million copies, making it the fourth best-selling game on the SNES. After that, Mario Kart would become a staple on every Nintendo system, and almost always ranking as one of the system's best-selling games, if not the best. My exposure to the Mario Kart series was also my exposure to video games in general. They had a GameCube set up at my dentist's office with Mario Kart Double Dash, and I have very vague memories of playing it before a few appointments, until it sadly stopped working when I was around 5. After that, my brother got Mario Kart DS for Christmas when we both got our DSIs. I played Wii at friends' houses, 7 was one of the first games I got for my 3DS, and 8 Deluxe was the first game I got for my Switch, and I eventually went back and got my own copy of both Double Dash and 64.
Now, Super Mario Kart was one of the first games I played when I got my SNES Classic, which is how I'm going to be playing it today. So while I have played this game before, I didn't play that much of it, but I think it's time I finally do, since this year marks the series' 20th anniversary. Why does this keep happening to me? Whatever, let's just start the game up.
The story of this game is that there is no story. Literally, nothing. Mario and his friends went go-karting. That's all there is, and that's all there really needs to be. As you boot up the game, you can hop into single-player or multiplayer. I select the Grand Prix, and we have to choose one of 8 characters to play as. Mario, Peach, Bowser, Koopa Troopa, Luigi, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, and Toad. The standard Mario Kart roster. There's just one little thing. That's not Donkey Kong, it's Donkey Kong Jr. Yeah, the one from the arcade game. Kind of an odd choice. This game did come out before Donkey Kong Country, so this is before Donkey Kong had the design we're more familiar with, but I still think they could have made a better choice. And apparently the developers agree, because this is the only Mario Kart game Donkey Kong Jr. has ever been in. He showed up in the first game and has been on the milk cartons ever since. Alright, let's start the race, and if it looks like it's oddly cropped, that's because of this. The game really was designed for multiplayer because it's always displayed in a split-screen format. In single player, this giant map takes up the bottom half of the screen, and I don't know why. This is not very helpful, you don't need it. Especially if you're in the middle of a race, you're not going to be glancing at the map very often. It's not a huge issue, but it's just weird. The graphics are pretty impressive for the time. The characters look good, and the scrolling tracks are really impressive for an SNES game. It really used Mode 7 to its advantage. The music is awesome. The songs perfectly capture the feeling of each track, and it's a joy to listen to. Now as for the actual gameplay, I think everyone knows how this works. The game is split into 3 cups: Mushroom, Flower, and Star, all with 5 tracks each. You have to race around the track for 5 laps and try to get first place. The better you do, the more points you get, and whichever racer has the most points at the end of the cup wins. You can use items to give yourself a boost or slow down your opponents. And before each cup, you can also select between 50cc and 100cc, which serves as the difficulty selection since it determines how fast you move. This is the first Mario Kart game, and good God does it feel like it, because ugh, these controls! They're not terrible, but it is really hard to go back to this after playing more recent Mario Kart games. First off, the layout is weird. You accelerate by holding the B button and use items with the A button, which is kinda awkward.
I know it doesn't sound that bad, but it just doesn't feel right with how your thumb is aligned. I think it would have made more sense to have Y accelerate and B use an item.
But the biggest issue with the controls is the turning. Your kart feels insanely heavy, and so many of these turns are really sharp. You can drift by holding one of the shoulder buttons, but it still feels awkward. I almost always end up going off course, slamming into a wall, or falling off the edge. Some of the courses feel fine, but others just throw throw turns at you non-stop. A lot of the time, you're better off just slowing down and taking it easy. The shoulder buttons also let you do a small hop. Now, you're not completely defenseless. Every track has these item panels you can run over to give yourself a power-up. There's 8 items total. The mushroom gives you a speed boost, which I don't like. Again, with these controls and the windy track, the mushroom just sends you flying, and it's nearly impossible to turn. The green shell can be shot in front of you or drop behind you if you hold down. The red shell can only be thrown ahead of you, but it locks on to whoever's in front, as opposed to the green shell, which is wildly inaccurate. There's banana peels, which you can throw or drop behind you to trip up your opponent. Not bad, but not great. There's the feather, which gives you a big jump, and it's way too situational. The superstar, which makes you invincible and go faster, but it wears off pretty quickly. The lightning, which shrinks down everyone else, making them slower and letting you squish them. And finally, coins. Coins are scattered all over the track, and you can collect them to increase your top speed. You can also get them from item panels, and they're next to useless. They just don't make a noticeable enough difference to warrant getting them, and it's almost always irritating because I just want an actually useful item. The item balance in this game is pretty good. You generally get better items the further back you are, aside from the few moments where the game gives you coins when you're in 5th place because screw you. However, you're the only one who can use all these items. The computer opponents can only use one type of item, and it changes depending on which character it is. Mario and Luigi can activate the superstar, Donkey Kong Jr. uses banana peels, Koopa Troopa shoots green shells, Bowser launches fireballs, Yoshi drops eggs, and Peach and Toad throw poison mushrooms which can shrink you down. This might seem like you have an unfair advantage, but it's actually the other way around, because the enemies don't need item panels. They can use these things whenever they want. It doesn't matter where they are or what place they're in, they can just throw these things out like it's nothing. I've literally had races where Mario and Luigi went invincible 5 times. The worst part about it is that most courses only let you get 1 power-up per lap, which gives you 5 total items per race, and if you waste one either by getting a coin or just missing, you're in trouble. It's nuts, and that's not the only unfair advantage the computer has.
The way the game works is that every time you start a cup, the computer players will all have different skill levels assigned to them, so certain ones will play better than others. Why am I bringing this up?
Because whichever characters have the higher skill level are granted faster speed so they can catch up to you if they fall behind. So while you might fall all the way to last place and have no chance of getting back in first, your opponent will have no trouble getting back up. So unless they get pelted constantly, you're always one slight mistake away from falling into 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th place. I know they did this so that the game's still challenging, even if you're great at it, but this isn't a fun and fair challenge. It just makes the Grand Prix really frustrating. On top of that, the levels are filled with tons of obstacles to avoid. Water, lava, moles, holes, ice blocks, swamps, it's nuts! And when you hit an obstacle, or God forbid, fall off the track, it takes forever for you to reset. Meanwhile, when the computer hits one of these things, which is pretty uncommon, they just get right back up and blast away at full speed. And some characters like Bowser and Donkey Kong Jr. have slower acceleration, so as soon as you start a race, the opponents just blast off. That's not fair! You have to play nearly perfectly if you want to win. The slightest mistake can make the difference between 1st place and 6th. This is one game I have no shame in using save states for. If the computer gets all these unfair advantages, then so do I. It doesn't feel that weird though, because if you get lower than 4th place, you have to use one of your limited continues to try again. The game doesn't let you just move on. Well, I guess I'll get into the actual courses. While there are 20 total tracks, there's only 7 track themes. Mario Circuit, which is a standard go-kart course, Donut Plains, which is a grassy plain, Ghost Valley, which is a haunted house, Bowser Castle, which is a lava-filled castle, Choco Island, which is filled with dirt and mud, Koopa Beach, which is just a beach, and Vanilla Lake, which is an icy lake. Mario Circuit has 4 tracks, Donut Plains, Ghost Valley, and Bowser Castle have 3, and Choco Island, Koopa Beach, and Vanilla Lake have 2. While the tracks have different layouts, there's nothing really distinguishable about them. It's cool that they're based on areas from Super Mario World, but the ones with similar themes feel exactly the same. I know the hardware was limited, but I think they should have just cut down on the number of tracks to make it feel less repetitive, and the layouts themselves range from alright to god-awful.
But if you've been paying attention, you realize that 3 cups, with 5 tracks each, equates to 15 total tracks, not 20.
That's because when you beat all 3 cups on 100cc, you unlock the Special Cup, which contains 5 extra courses. You can't play the Special Cup on 50cc, just 100cc. And this course contains one brand new theme, Rainbow Road. It's probably the best course in the game for the sole reason that it's the only track theme that doesn't repeat. This cup is absolutely brutal. It's a bunch of sharp turns and death traps. Yes, I beat Rainbow Road! And there's the credits. Let's just make sure it went through and then
You unlock 150cc when you beat the Special Cup. Let's try the other modes.
There's also the time trial mode, which is just trying to beat any of the courses as fast as you can. It's a high score based thing and nothing else. Now let's move on to the root of Mario Kart, the multiplayer modes. There's 3 in total. You can play through the Grand Prix while competing against a friend, Versus Kart, which is you two racing on any track you want without any computer players, and of course, Battle Mode. If there's anything people enjoy about this game, it's Battle Mode. You and a friend are placed in a small battle arena and have to use items to attack each other. You each have 3 balloons, and you lose 1 if you get hit. Whoever runs out first loses. There's also an exclusive item to multiplayer in the form of the Boo, which steals your opponent's item and makes you invisible. Battle Mode is decent, multiplayer Grand Prix isn't much better than solo Grand Prix, and Versus Kart is meh. I firmly believe that this is the main reason people who grew up with this game fondly remember it. If anyone says this is the best Mario Kart game, which it's not, it's solely because of the Battle Mode. And while I enjoy Battle Mode, it's not enough to save this game. I honestly care about the racing more than the battle mode because that's where the single player fun is. And unfortunately, Super Mario Kart single player sucks. The Grand Prix starts out alright and just gets worse and worse as it goes on.
Thanks for coming back to play with me, T. Alright, fine. Here's your money. Now, it's time for me to beat 150cc.
Mushroom Cup, down. Not the worst. There's the Flower Cup. It was a pain, but whatever. Star Cup. No! Come on! You've got to be kidding me! It doesn't matter how well you play, the slightest mistake can you over. You, you, you! You know what? This game stinks. Yeah, I said it, it stinks. I don't care if the battle mode can have some enjoyment. Grand Prix is miserable, and if it wasn't on the SNES Classic, I want to break the thing. A game with controls this heavy should not have so many turns that are this short! Alright, after all that I finally got to the Special Cup. Screw you, you're a this, that wasn't that bad. Rainbow Road, here we go again. Yeah, baby, there it is.
Game on. Super Mario Kart has aged horribly. The controls are awkward, the track variety is limited, and the Grand Prix is a miserable slog that drove me to my breaking point. And a decent battle mode is not enough to make up for it. This might be controversial, but I don't care. I think this game is bad.
I do not recommend playing this game for any reason. I normally say I'm glad I got to see how a long-running series got its start, but this is an example where that is not the case. I wanted to like this game. I really did. But it just ended up making me angry more than anything else. If you like it, that's great, but I'm not going to play it with you if you give me the offer. There were multiple moments where I just wanted to stop playing. I'm grateful that this game exists, but I never want to play it again.
I love the Mario Kart series, but unfortunately I have to admit, I think the first game stinks. It's sad, but I guess you come to those kinds of realizations when you spend your time playing video games in a box. Hang on one second. Hey, watch it! Jackass.